Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we'll say Kawai Mayel Bashim Yashab Bashim Akakulash. Double honesty, the elders and the apostles, great millstone GMS will do rule and teach well. And just gonna go into a short topic. I'm gonna talk about 2 Edges 4 and 24. About set 23. For it was not my mind to be curious to hide things, but such as pass by as namely, before Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen, and because the people who not loved is given over unto ungodly nations. But the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to none effect. Right? And Ezra's writing this while he's in Babylon, and he's seeing our people struggle, and our people being at the bottom, being, subjugated as a people, in this foreign land and things like that. And the covenants are pretty much being made to effect. They say, hey, what about all these promises? Why are we under these heathen, right? These people who are meant to serve us, right? Like, I believe Jeremiah wrote Lamentations. He goes into it, right? Servants rule over us, right? Right? And it's all because, right, the sins of our people that we were brought down, right? The sins of our forefathers. Right, and every man pays for his own sins. So sins may go back to great grandfather and so on and so forth, because we are the same people come back in the reincarnation. All right, so the people we went off, just now in these times we're all playing our lot. Right, dry bones have come back, right? Someone be elected that's fully waking up, right? The awful look, a little one to be the number, right? They fully woke up, and those are the ones that are playing their role in these times where they've learned, learn our mistakes and say, all right, this time we're gonna do it, do it the right way, and we'll then we be safe, right? But those whose lot is to be, wicked, and you're just going to be wicked, right? The righteous be righteous still, the wicked be wicked still, right? Right? If we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to attain mercy, right? So we pass away as well as grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are very light, very light thing. It's a small kind of animal, right? Insignificant. I could go into Google and look up the lifespan of a grasshopper or something, whatever, and cross-reference it and compare it to like other insects. But I ain't gonna do all that, man. A grasshopper is a small thing. It's kind of insignificant. Like you see a grasshopper popping, you're just like, whatever, right? And our life is astonishment and fear. We're not worthy to attain mercy. Yeah, our life is full of fear, right? Fear of how to pay our bills, fear of death, right? Going outside too late. It's like, man, what if I get stopped by cops, right? Or fear you go to a place, and there's a lot of Edomites over there. Damn right, I'm like, shit, I don't want to be here. I gotta keep my head on the swivel, Or if you're in a place that's ran a lot by Edomites, Of course, we pray. Say, Lord willing, be safe. But, it's real out here, man. These Edomites, you could just be working in a Edomite ran neighborhood, and they'll still call the fucking cops on you. And so, this guy is in my neighborhood, he's really suspicious, So there's nothing you can really do, man. It's just, this is what it is. Right, we are not worthy to attain mercy, right, because of our sins, man. All right, and that's going off as people, right? But the Most High is gonna have mercy on us anyway, man. And that worm Jacob, that Buzz went to, worm is like an insignificant type of creature. The Lord's gonna have mercy on us, right? This is the book of oh my gosh, I spelt it wrong. I butchered the spelling. Oh boy. How did I do that? This is the book of 2nd Ezra 15:8. I hold my tongue no more, touching the wickedness which they profanely commit. Neither was suffering those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Right? Both the innocent and righteous both cries unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right? Yeah, so let's see here. And belief. Yeah. So, pretty much, back then it was going to the wicked of our people. Who. Yeah, that's why. What is it? Well, and the spirit of them, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much, yeah, it's going into, how at first, wicked jakes, wicked jakes who didn't want to hear the truth, right? And so it's a fear not the incredulity hit them, right? And then that goes into, man, it might be, Romans 3, there's the unbelief, of the world make the truth of the Most High alive, roughly paraphrasing, God forbid, right? Just because what some do not believe, right? Does that make our truth of none effect? God forbid, right? Because plenty of people don't believe, right? 2/3 of our people don't believe. The heathen don't believe. They think that when we go out there, they think that we look silly, or we look stupid. They think that it's it's a joke. So we just, what I mean? Like, we're not breaking anybody's neck over this thing. You know what I mean? If you think it's stupid, if you think we're silly, good for you. Keep going. All right, but we're just here to tell you that you're gonna be destroyed, and that's gonna be that. Right? We're not breaking your neck over it right now, but yeah, in the kingdom, next gonna get broken. Right? But if you in here in America, you gonna die here in America. You reincarnate, and then I don't know, brothers might have a little talk with you, man. They might have a long chat with you, man. So yeah, but also goes into Esau now, right? Because they commit these profanities and these wickedness, man. Right, and these things they wickedly exercise themselves, right? And the innocent and righteous blood, right? The prophet killers, And like I remember, what was I reading with Jezebel, man? It had the prophets, men of the Lord hiding in caves, man. You know how wicked you gotta be, man, right? That's fucking pure evil, You got the men of the Lord hiding in caves. They had it like that, But, hey, man, and these times, man, they're not gonna get all of us, These Edomites, these jakes, they're gonna try to snitch on us. Maybe some brothers may get, hemmed up or whatever and caught. But they're not gonna get all of us, right? So we got no mercy. Fuck these 2/3, man. We got nothing. We leave these guys alone, man. Therefore said the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Absolutely. Right? Because, this is what they do, man. They come against us. They come against us hard. Right? These Edomites. Right? Right, but we haven't even seen anything yet. But you see them talk on the internet, about the race war and about this and that, and you can only imagine, how they'll feel when they have us, our faces plastered, on the walls, these TVs, they're gonna send them troops after us, man, try to catch them out of the Lord, right? Well, my people's lives are flocked to slaughter. I suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, right? And this is a whole lot of people that is a flock to a slaughter, right? Everything that people are going through right now is planned by these Edomites, man. gangster rap culture, right? All that bullshit. All of it is backed and planned out and engineered, by the so-called white man. He took hold of it and he engineered it, right? And turned it into a very wicked thing, right? In the olden days, rap and stuff that I grew up listening to, man, I'm not old. I'm a young dude. My father, he used to show me these old movies. He used to show me a lot of old movies, a lot of old music and things like that, which is really not all that old. It's more like maybe 80s, 90s, 70s type things. It's really not that old when you think about it. But maybe 50 years ago or whatever. Right, and all this stuff, um, they're not rapping about, just diabolical nigga shit no more. They weren't really rapping about that shit. These Edomites, these small hatters, they got their hands in it. And, what the Jakes doing now, right? They backed the Jakes, the degenerates, and they just pushed those guys up to the front. Now every single song was about, taking niggas' girls or killing niggas or setting niggas up or setting niggas up and fucking his girl. It's like, damn, dude. Like, this shit's horrible. No, all this is just a symptom of the curses. Right, so all I looked up is black people dying is normalized, right? But you can replace this with the so-called Hispanic people, so-called Native American people. Their plight, our plights as people, are suffering, right? It's normalized. It's normal, right? It's like, you know what I mean? Like they got that what was a white fatigue. Like they tired of hearing about other people complaining. Right, and that's very real. Edomites don't want to hear nobody complaining. Esau just wants to complain and bitch and moan. And if anyone else complain, he don't want to hear that shit. Right? That's why you get a damn devil. Right? Higher mortality rates. Studies have shown that black people in the U.S. experience higher mortality rates compared to white counterparts across various age groups in the range of health conditions. Right? They got all these different studies. NBC News, Scientific American. By 82 million years, that's how much lifetime the U.S. black population lost because of premature death between 1999 and whatever. Right? Excess deaths, right? Premature deaths, right? Which is due to treatable conditions, right? These doctors don't give a fuck about us, right? These doctors don't give a fuck, right? They don't want to listen to our people, They're like, hey, this guy got government assistance anyway. I don't give a fuck. They fuck our people up. Right? They don't care. Right? People, be first one to hop into these hospitals and shit. But it just goes into it. Our people are just completely beholden to the system. You know what I mean? But us in the truth, we know about herbs and things like that. We get it. We educate each other on it. I went out and actually was able to get some black seed oil, so low and it'll help open up my my throat and whatever, so I could get my voice back. I don't have to be coughing every 5 fucking. Right, contributing factors, right, you got systemic racism, social determinants of health, factors such as poverty, lack of access to quality health care, food insecurity, exposure to environmental hazards. This disproportionately affect black individuals, contributing to poorer health outcomes and higher mortality rates. Right, absolutely. Right, and this shit always happen, to our people, in these metropolitan, crowded conditions and things like that. Meanwhile, these Edomites, en masse, they'll live in the suburbs, cleaner, open, right? And I've went to school up there. It's beautiful, right? where they be living at. You know, even parts of New York, not parts of New York, even parts of Brooklyn. You know, like when you see a lot of small hats, like Borough Park, Sunset to like a certain extent. What is it? It's like 49th in like Brooklyn. Like over there, when you go further down Bensonhurst, where we got a lot of small hatters. It's beautiful. It's open. You know, it's better. You know, but the air isn't as good as upstate. You know, like it feels different when you go further up. It feels different. You know, like you can definitely feel the difference. Right, and you got training and whatever, but that don't matter to us. Right, but all this stuff, health inequity, right, lack of access to quality healthcare. Right, so these hospitals don't care about us, man. You know, and there's so many different examples. You know, Jake's will go to a hospital. Actually, I could go into one to I recently. You know, this happened to someone that, you know, I don't know them, but my mom knows them. That she had like breast cancer or whatever, and she went to the doctor to get it fixed, and pretty much it was a situation where they didn't have to cut off the whole breast, but the doctor cut off the whole breast anyway. So now she has to like figure that whole thing out now, right? And that's not uncommon, you know. I remember learning that in school that like situations do happen like that. With these Edomites, you go in there for one thing and they'll just fuck your whole shit up, right? They don't care about us, right? We all know about Woodhall and things like that too, you know. They don't care about us, right? So I'm gonna let that be that. You know, I just looked it up. You know, AI, they'll pull a bunch of information from different articles, but you see here the AI overview. This is what they pulled it from. Death rates among black people in the U.S. are rising and falling. Right, this is what they came up with. Right, so low end flights are showing.